All right, right?
And look, okay, yeah. I still ain't got nothing for my other shit though.
That's all right. Welcome to another Hour with Rod. I'm your host, Rod, and on this episode, I have another nice conversation with Reece. I want to go ahead and plug everything I have set up here. I've set up a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. It's called Another Hour with Rod. You should find it by just typing in Another Hour with Rod, and you'll see it. Like, subscribe. So if you would prefer to listen to the podcast on YouTube rather than download it, you have that option. Also, iTunes. You can find the podcast on iTunes. If you search Another Hour with Rod, click on the result there. It should be my podcast. And please rate us. Give us a rating or a review, at least a rating if you can. It really, really helps the podcast. It's literally 2 clicks and you're there, and you can just give a rating. It really helps. So good ratings, obviously give more visibility to the podcast. So please do that if you can. And speaking of that, just out of releasing the podcast in the first 11 episodes, I've made iTunes new and noteworthy list at around about number 678. So really, really excited about that. And of course, Facebook. Like the podcast on Facebook, and every time I put out an episode, you will see a post in your feed. If you're an iTunes user, subscribing to the podcast through iTunes is probably the best way for you to make sure new episodes get in your feed. If not, just liking the podcast on Facebook should keep you up to date. So, moving on, what do we have here? What else is on the list here? Okay, yeah. So I've been thinking, I listened to some other podcasts, and I'm like, everybody has a neat theme song. Like, I enjoy mine. It's perfectly, I think, fitting for what I want. But I was messing around. I thought I would make an alternate one. So here's my alternate theme song, and why. After listening to the alternate theme song, I'm glad I use the one that I do. So here it is. Here's my alternate theme song. Welcome to another hour with Rob. We gonna talk about shit. See what I mean? Just too much going on. I'm not a big fan of this kind of radio gaga. Anyway, moving on. So I spend a lot of time sifting through music in the public domain, so I can kind of put in, I have music that I can use and I don't want to have to pay for, and I know it's safe and all that, and I won't get pulled off of YouTube. It won't raise any red flags or anything. So when you do this, you come across some, most of it's just, oh, that's a nice little intro, or that's a nice beat, or that's a nice little guitar melody. You don't really, put some of those bands in the public domain as the same category as like the other, the main bands you listen to that aren't in the public domain. But every once in a while you come across a song that's just like, where did this come from? I mean, it's so simple, so nice. So I found, this band, and I'm assuming they're foreign to the United States. Their name's Stereosaurus. It's one of those, it looks like it's one of those languages where the E and the A are connected, and they have a little circle above some of their letters. It sounds Scandinavian. I don't know, it's so nice, so nice. So I'm going to play this song, so check it out. so nice, isn't it? What's he saying, though? Could be some racist shit. It could be some Nazi propaganda shit. But damn, it's so nice. Listen. He could be singing praise to Hitler. Hell, I wouldn't know. Praise Hitler. I kind of love not knowing, it's the ambiguity of it. The voice as an instrument of emotions, not of words. So nice. Glad I don't know what he's saying. I assume it's something nice. I assume he's singing something about, mountains or trees or something. So nice. So without any further ado, since I've given you so many ados already, here's another conversation with my good friend Reece.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up, Indianapolis? What's up, America?
Yep, and this is the first day of daylight savings time. It's March 13th, and that surprised me this morning when I woke up at 3 o'clock p.m. and found out it was actually 4. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about daylight savings time. What do you think about it, Reece? Do you have any opinions either way? It's kind of nice. It gives us more of an evening to, get out after work and shit and still be light out. I guess that's all right in the summertime and spring.
Well, man, honestly, if you didn't call, like I said, I would have got up, and by the time I'd have got over here in the studio, I'd have been like, wait a minute, it's 9 o'clock. I would have felt weird as hell. So, honestly, I'm glad you gave me a call and let me know that it was daylight. Because, I really don't keep up with stuff like that. If I'd have called Moms, she'd have told me that I would have figured it out. Somebody would have let me know today.
Right.
But I appreciate it.
So the day was the Big Ten tournament championship they played here.
Yep.
I don't know. Did they play the games here in town? Right. That's where it happens.
Yeah, all of it happens here. March Madness.
Right. Yeah.
The NFL. The first is the NFL scouting college. Combines where the college kids come out and get scouted by the NFL. Then it's the games, the seed games. Like you got the AFC conference. You got the SEC conference, then you got the SWAC conference. You got all the different conferences, Mid-Atlantic Conference. So, but all the big games after that is played, like the big championship games are played right here in Indianapolis. The Big Ten
for
tournament.
the Big Ten, not for all those other conferences.
The Big Ten. No. They just come to play the finals here.
Oh yeah, the winners of all that stuff for the.
And then, but you do have games that go on here. Yeah. You know, there's whoever's in. What is this? What is this conference called? We in
Big Ten.
Yeah, we in the Big Ten. So we had Big Ten games here all weekend, and now we about to go into the March Madness.
And Michigan State beat Purdue to claim it. Purdue.
Yeah, we about to go into March Madness now, man.
Okay, so
after them people.
Check this out. Okay, so you were talking about the NFL Combine. I just want to kind of touch on that.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? You know, Chris Jones, a 6'5", 310-pound defensive lineman. He's from Mississippi State. He was running the 40-yard dash at the Combine when his thingy came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
His penis came right out of his shorts and he was running. They got video of it.
That
Shit all over YouTube, dude. And he did the belly flop at the end so he could
cover it.
Did
he hurt himself?
I don't know. They just got pictures of it. It cracks me up. But people have reported that.
What you say the guy name is?
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. But people were saying that the 40-yard dash was more like a 7.2, not a. So he's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right.
I don't get that.
I mean, it's just he was doing what he's being natural, Shit. I mean, that's the good thing, The only thing I pretty much picked up on it, man, I really didn't, do a whole lot of research on it, or look into it real deep, but just I found like they showed which receivers impressed, like the top receivers. So they had your guy coming out of
Who's my guy? You always say my guy.
No, I'm just talking to the people. You had your guy coming out right here now. Like basically, I'm a guy named Will Fuller, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Basically, they said he ran as far as on the 40-yard dash, I think he ran like a 4.5. No, I'm sorry, 4.32.
Damn.
So this is Will Fuller, and they said it was pretty good. 4.3 is good. 4.3 is top speed in the NFL, man.
Yeah.
Do you know the fastest guy in the NFL now is? I'm not for sure.
No, I have no clue.
But speed kills with football, man. I remember just on a note from when I was in high school, the fastest dude I ever seen play, man. He came out of Julian High School in Chicago, and he was an All-American that year. He was number one. His name was Brian. I want to say Brian Johnson, Brian Sims, or something like that. But look, he went on to Michigan State. He was a wide receiver from Michigan State, man. He was a 4-year man. But look, he ran 4 touchdowns on us, 2 return. I'm talking about, man. I was on the punt back return, and all I could do was just try to get to where I got blocked, and all I seen him go shoom shoom. I was like, and when he caught his 2 touchdowns, he scored 4 touchdowns in the game. 2 was just like little slant runs where when you line up on the line and then you just cut through the middle of the field.
Right.
I mean, like 10-yard cut, man. He threw the ball as soon as the dude cut. Look, he caught it. Shoom. That was just 2. I mean, dude was blazing fast. I never seen nobody, Right. So speed kills, man. And right now, I think this guy Will Fuller, he's considered like one of the top aspects that came out the Combine. So that's what I got as far as NFL Combines.
Are you a Bears fan? Being from up there, you like the Colts?
I'm always gonna be a Bears fan because I'm gonna represent the city. But when it came down to, man, them 86 Bears, them 85, 86 Bears, 84 Bears, I was that hard then because all my guys was like Walter Payton, right. Steve McMichael, and so, they played for years and years.
Who was that? The quarterback, McMahon?
McMahon, you know what I'm saying?
I had his jersey and the pads when I was a kid.
Yeah, man. And them guys played with the Bears for a lot of years. So you seen them lose close games. So when you seen them started winning, that was the payoff, Yeah. So I was really a great fan of them. Okay. But the thing now.
And the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah, and the thing now with the Bears, man, they don't keep players no more. Like, they got rid of Matt Forte, man. You know what I'm saying? Matt Forte gave the Bears 4 good. He was a good running back, number 22. And They just got rid. They don't want to pay him the money.
Well, he's at that point for running backs, which is like
Yeah, they're dime a dozen, man. Yeah, you're a dime a dozen, man. Unless you get a good contract, maybe 5-year contract. Most backs usually get 5-year deals. So I think Forte probably gave him like 4-year deal. I think it was a 3-year deal he did with them. I'm not for sure. Yeah. But when it was time for him to come up and look, pay me maybe $2 more million.
Right.
McCaskies don't do that.
Well, if you look up the average. Like how long an average running back lasts in the league, it's like 3-4 years, man.
Yeah, man. Injury prone.
Yeah, and I don't understand how, man. It's just crazy to think that people they're gonna make their whole life devoted to playing football, being a running back or something, and only playing 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's crazy, man.
I mean, and that's why I guess a lot of them, when they come out, they ask for the $20 million signing bonus, and then they get like a 3-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah, but they buy the house and everything, and they live the lifestyle like they're gonna get that $20 million every year, not just 3 or 4 years. That's what ends up.
Hey, what's crazy? Man. The money. Like, look, here's what the thing is. When people look at the facts of when you get a $100 million contract, you got to go. Your agent gets pretty much 50% of that. So you turn $100 million right into $50 million. Okay, then on top of that, man, you turn $50 million until after you pay your taxes off for everything from the government, they're gonna take 50%. So now you only really then came out for 3 years with $25 million. Now this is where the guys really get over it.
Right.
And that's why their houses, they spend $10 million for a house, $5 million here, and they broke, because that's how they get broken down to.
Right.
So you really ain't even getting all the money we think they get. But now here's where the twist at. People like Shaq, people like Jordan, they get endorsements. So they never have to just touch that money because he's getting $100 million from McDonald's and Haynes.
Or whatever, yeah.
Shaq get $100 million. You know what I mean? I don't know what they percentage is or what they get, but I'm saying them are guys that, you know what? Shaq and Jordan has never cashed an NFL check. They don't have to. They lived off the endorsements. That's beautiful.
It says here running backs have it's the shortest average careers of all positions, averaging just 2.5 years, just over 2.5 years in the league.
I thought it was quarterbacks.
Nah, I can this site right here. I think sad. Has the link or has the different positions and shit in the links of them.
Really?
But it's crazy. Yeah, but I mean, there's all sorts of. There's European football leagues guys can go to if they want to keep playing and make some money. Canadian League.
A lot of guys, switch over from Canada football to NFL. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always other avenues. They might. I think back then, even in the late '90s, they was making the top players at Canadian making $75,000 a year.
Yeah, but bad.
Look now,
you're playing football and and traveling.
Depending on how their tax bracket is, do they have to have an agent? Now look, somebody who was real smart in the game. Now we're gonna switch from football to basketball. Was Ray Allen. When Ray Allen came from UConn, did not take an agent. So his first 2 years he didn't even play NBA. Because a lot of people didn't want to get him. Well, his first year he didn't play after he got out of college.
Yeah.
Because he didn't take an agent and he was his own marketing person. So look, he got a contract. His first contract, they gave him a contract to where he had no agent. So this man made it all the way through the NFL, getting all his bread.
Damn.
So that was pretty smart. See, them agents, man. Agents is the guys who represent you. But look, they get you the $100 million deals. But they get 50% out of making the deal. So your 100 turn into 50, and then look, once you pay the government, what the government is what, 50% or 60 or 50% of your money. So 50 million is cut in half to 25 million. So that big $20 million home. The only way a lot of guys get over that, they get in the music, or they get in the movies, or they do commercials, or they get endorsements.
Sportscasting, and they do.
Yeah, they in ESPN, shit like that. Yeah,
that's big now.
That's it, man.
Guys.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, lots of. I don't know, man. I don't keep up. The older I get, the less and less I keep up with. NFL or Big Ten or any of that stuff. I mean, I don't know anything. Used to do where I'd fill out the brackets and all that shit.
I used to get into that shit, but it's an opportunity for anybody, especially that's athletic, you know, athletically talented, or you know, they have the. I mean, I've seen guys that play in NFL or in NBA that wasn't really that talented, but they had the great skills. Like they would go for every ball
with the heart.
Yeah, they had the heart. You know, so really, you know, that's what now you dealing with guys that's so talented that can jump so high. I mean, have you checked out Gordon and the slam dunk dudes, man? The dude I showed you.
The dude jumped over the
I'm talking about the rim was right here. His whole body was like
he did the Jordan free throw line dunk over a guy.
Then he took it and look, he put it up on his leg, and then look while he was leaning aside, and the rim was like right here. Unbelievable. Right. Now, so you talking about guys multi-talented. So the hard thing ain't really the thing that stand out no more. It's what you can do and your talent and how high you can jump. So see, the money's there. So it's an opportunity for people. But then you got them guys that's just mediocre that make it too. Right. See, a lot of mediocre players was people like Chauncey Billups. They come out of like small, you know. I mean, Chauncey, I don't know if Chauncey came out of small school.
He's always a third man or a second guy.
But he was a great player when he was a clutch player. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you had guys like it was a guy that came. B.J. Armstrong came out of Iowa. He was like
a Bulls, right?
Yep, and he was a point guard. But look, he get you 23 every night. But he had an opportunity.
And he was with Jordan and all those guys.
Yeah, he started from the bench, but when he came in, he produced. He got it in. One of the best guards to me in the game in the NBA came from Chicago. Well, he was a transfer. I don't know if he was really from Chicago, but I watched him when he played for DePaul. Rod Strickland, point guard. Mm-hmm. He was one of the best with that rock, can control it, you know, set the tone, set the pace, because I watched him when he played for DePaul. But when he went to New York Knicks, man, he was that man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the good thing was it's opportunity for guys to make money to where they won't have to do what we doing. You know what I mean? So, but then the thing is, the smarter guys learn how to take their money to where they get accounts. But see, look, it's a story about a lot of NFL and NBA players who took money, millions, and invested in and got beat, man, you know.
Yeah.
Then, okay, I'll tell you another story. A guy come out of Kentucky, played for UK. My God, I can't remember his name.
There's so many of them.
But no, this is what he did. He took his money while he was in the NBA. I can't remember this guy's name, but it'll come to me, and excuse me, everybody out there, and I'll look it up because his name is on the tip of my tongue. But just on the business aspect of what he did was he took his money and he opened up a chain of restaurants. You know what I'm saying?
He invests his money in a restaurant, too,
you know. Yeah. So like when he's rich, you know, he's living off the assets of that.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah,
so get into some sort of business.
Yeah, he owned like 26 chains. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's a big.
The guy played for UK. He played in the Jordan days. I just can't remember his name. He played with the Sixers. He was a small forward. But it'll come to me. It'll come to me. He won the championship.
We're gonna sit here and wait. We're just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna fold my arms and we're gonna sit here until you can figure out.
Oh well, then
I'm just kidding.
No, I know he's messing with me out there. But look, what about the? So we can switch over to something a little seriously, you know, or maybe something that's kind of going on with the people that might want to hear. What about the presidential race?
Yeah, everybody's talking about the presidential race.
Yeah, man. All I know is it's Rubio, Clinton. Really, I hear Rubio, Clinton, and Trump.
Is Rubio even in it? Let's look and see who's in the race. I'm gonna look at it right now.
But then at the same time, you know, to keep it really juicy, everybody don't understand that, like, right now they making Trump look like he's the people's favorite, but Trump been in there and got shut down before. So see, he's a familiar runner.
He tried. Oh, watch it.
You know
He tried being a president before.
Yeah, he ran for it before, but he never got this far. You know, he got kind of they shot him down.
Sidetrack. Oh yeah, but like, you know, sit down.
Yeah, because you just rich, you know, and you got money. You could just talk about stuff, and you know, you take a lot of dirty. You know, you did dirty stuff. But, you know, you cleaned it up real good.
Right.
But you know, the thing is, man, he's an American. So the people are feeling that. It did, like he said, the Mexicans should go is for America. But then, look, he got issues with everybody's race except for his own race. He got issues with the blacks. He got issues with the Chinese. So, I mean, do you really want a president like that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is Everybody, I think, a lot of people for a long time have been sick of the way things have been run. That, the politicians talk out of both sides of their mouth. They're pandering. They never really do a lot of what they say they're going to do. This and that. And unfortunately, it just happened that the dissenting voice just happened to be Donald Trump. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It could have been any other rich, smart, white, black, whatever. It could have been a Neil deGrasse Tyson could have run for president, and I think he'd still catch the same. But I think it's just really I think for two reasons, right? And I kind of just hate talking about fucking Trump. I hate him. Anyway, there's really two reasons. I think people like him. One, it's for that the voice is it's the opposition to the norm. It's the opposition of politicians.
Yeah,
It's from a businessman.
I can understand that.
And the second one is that I think more people than we know are racist, and I think it finally gives them a reason to dislike other races.
Yeah, and then honestly, okay, let's say what he says. Let's say if we did what he said, like you send the Mexicans back, you send the Chinese back. Okay, where do you send the blacks?
They built America, by the way.
Therefore, so that's what I'm saying. So therefore, where does that leave everybody? Because actually, when you look at America, we're a big melting pot of everybody. Look, are you all the way full-blooded white?
I'm all kinds of crazy shit.
So I'm saying,
I looked back on it. I know one half of me. It's so funny, man, because I got the. You can get on Ancestry.com. Plug Ancestry.com if you'd like to be the sponsor. Contact Another Hour Podcast at gmail.com. But I got on there and used the free trial and was looking up. I went up basically one side of my family's history, just to get. I wanted to go until we weren't at America anymore.
Right.
Like, where did we come from before America? Man, my fucking lazy ass family been hanging around Frankfurt since 1667. Frankfurt, fucking Indiana, Ohio Valley.
Originators.
The tri-state. They're really the tri-state area. The Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio corner. Like, we've just been hanging around in that valley But there was a really cool thing I found out about my family, man, and it was that back then they had a lot of kids. Like, maybe it's just my family, but a lot of them were either farmers or like machinists or worked at an assembly line or a cigar factory or something, or worked on the railroad.
Right.
And they had a lot of kids, man. Back then, they had a lot of fucking kids.
Yeah, that's how it was. Everybody.
Man, they had so they loaded up. This is 1928 or something. I can't remember what. I'll look it up here. But they loaded up their car, and they drove just out of town just to stay with the other family members over the weekend. And when they came back and they were on the way back to the house, the car got stalled out over train tracks. And back then, cars weren't that great. I mean, we're talking about I think it was the late 20s or early 30s. But he went to throw it in reverse because he was kind of halfway on the tracks. And they were so janky back then that he threw it into forward, right into the oncoming path of the train, man, that was coming down the tracks. Did I mention that? I mean, he was stuck on he rolled up to the train tracks and noticed there was a train coming, went to hit it in reverse. And instead of it going into reverse, because they were just those janky big sticks or whatever, he threw it into forward, and it put the whole car out in front. Wiped half that family out, man.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting when you find out shit like that. But no, everybody.
But then, do you know that's the importance of safety? Like, you see how far we've we came from, back in those times where. Now, you had the rail to come down to prevent you from even crossing the tracks. And then you had a warning signs, the ding, ding, to let you know. So back then, the times was different. And even if you was a man and you had your family in the car and you was trying, and it was stalling, you probably tell the family to get out, but you wasn't thinking, the safety, how important safety is.
I think he lived.
He lived?
And one of the daughters, maybe two of the daughters lived.
Really?
And then also had to live with that. No, dude, there's this crazy. I'll show you sometime on YouTube. My phone doesn't play it very well, unless yours does. There's this shot they took on a trolley in San Francisco, right at the turn of the century, right before the big San Francisco earthquake. It's the early 1900s, like 1910 or 15 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so they put a camera on the front of this trolley car, and it just rolling down the main street of San Francisco, and it goes all the way down to the docks of San Francisco. But it's one long shot, and you just see you talk about traffic arms or railroad arms. There's no traffic signals. There's no lines in the road, and it's this meeting of like 3 different modes of transportation, just all at once. Horses and carriages driving by, little buggies flying by, kids just sitting on the back bumpers of cars, jumping on the trolley, jumping off the trolley, just madness, just tons of people weaving in and out of everywhere. And you're like, man, kids almost getting hit by shit, and it's on YouTube. You just look up. Just look up San Francisco turn of the century San Francisco trolley.
Yeah,
car.
A lot. I mean,
it's just one long shot.
Yeah,
just one long.
Because when you first start
just
something,
think of those guys
it's like
at that age, man.
Yeah, when you first start something, it's an experiment. So you're gonna have a lot of failures and a lot of mishaps.
And the idea and the implementation of the idea comes before regulations.
The people are the guinea pigs.
Well, the regulation comes after the invention.
And then and when you have the failures and the mishaps, then you had the regulations, because now you know what to do from the mistakes.
And you know what's crazy about that is they shit.
Hey man.
No. Like the day or two later, one of the biggest earthquakes in San Francisco happened and wiped tons of those people out. Yeah. So not only are you watching that video, seeing all like horses, rail cars, bicycles, walking all at once, but then knowing like, oh man, every one of those people is probably dead right now, maybe a couple, and then knowing they're not just dead because it's been almost 100 years, they died like 2-3 days later.
And I mean, since you're talking
that's
about
a crazy video, man.
Catastrophes, I remember like one of the greatest hurricanes we ever had was like 1906. And it was in, my God, I looked it up, man. I want to say it was some part of the East Coast or the South where it was like over 200. It was India. It was in India. I want to say 2006 in India. I mean, I looked this up. This was like last year. This was in India. Over 200,000 people died from a hurricane, or was it a tsunami? It was a hurricane, I think.
They're close, yeah. It's all right to be confused between those two.
I guess India is a flat land, but I thought India was a lot of mountains.
No, there's some mountains in there in India.
But a lot of people live on the flats, yeah. And then in the Indian Ocean.
And the mountains, it's just where they got the fucking tigers and shit.
It's vast, man.
Yeah, and monkeys come living in. Yeah, they got monkeys invading them and shit.
And back then, people wasn't equipped with warning signs. We didn't have no Doppler back then, so we have became a long way. Advanced the technology and everything that we have been through now, to get back on this thing of it, man, that presidential race, man, I'm gonna tell you something.
Oh, yeah, where was I going? I just said, that's why
while we was here, I was kind of tuning in on one side of my ear with my phones here, man, listening to your boy, man.
I was
Trump,
looking at
man,
that too.
And you know what? I feel differently now. Because, he just said something that just struck me, and I just stopped the film. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, no, I definitely
Okay, I mean, it just made me feel different. I thought maybe he was really being racist, but check this out. They asked him a question right here, and he gave a great answer.
But he does that, he answers both ways. So
that's what made me catch it and want to show you. Let me get it right now.
Yeah, get it going. What you got? Is it a video?
Huh?
Can you plug it in? You want to plug it in?
Yeah, we can plug it in.
Yeah, Mr. Trump. Yeah, he's done. Whatever he's doing is working,
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead and go to break, and we'll come back in a minute. We'll come back out of this with the video, and we'll go from there for another hour with Rob.
As far as I'm concerned, we have to redo our trade deals. 100%. I have the greatest business people in the world. We will make great trade deals.
Mr. Trump, Romney also talked about your position on race and the controversy over your failure to denounce David Duke on Sunday. You have repeatedly disavowed him since then, but I'd like to go deeper than that. What are your views on the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists?
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. I've been doing it now for 2 weeks. You're probably about the 18th person that's asked me the question. It was very clear. That question was also talked about in the form of groups. I want to know, which groups are you talking about? You have to tell me which groups. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. And by the way, if you look on my Twitter account, almost immediately after the program, they were disavowed again. You know, it's amazing. When I do something on Twitter, everybody picks it up, goes all over the place. But when I did this one, nobody ever picks it up. Take a look at my Twitter account.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Senator Rubio.
So there you go. So, what do you think about the Ku Klux Klan and all that bullshit, man?
He disavows it.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. I never really thought he was
I don't see him.
part of the Ku Klux Klan, really.
He reminds me of a prudish businessman, you know what I'm saying, East Coast style, man. I mean, he is East Coast, man. And then, like I said, he's been without shit. He's been where he got back on his feet and he lost it again and he got it again. So, I mean, the guy he's a fighter.
Yeah, I don't know. He just reminds me of one of those guys that gets involved in something like a Bohemian Grove or a child prostitute. Have you heard about this Franklin child prostitution ring shit, man? I know I've mentioned it a little bit before, man, but I don't know if you've gotten the story. This shit's crazy. I heard this actually on a really good podcast a couple months ago. They did a whole thing about this, and it was fucking crazy. The podcast's called Sword and Scale. But basically, he seems like this guy, like, there's allegations toward the first Bush that he was involved in acts with little kids that were abducted and brought into this child prostitution ring, man. You remember that shit? Remember the 80s was when they started doing the milk cart, the kids on the milk cartons, and the remember those after school special movies and shit, and John Walsh and all that shit.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
So they're kind of, so when I started reading about this stuff, it was like, you can kind of see it happen. Some of the testimonies by some of these kids, man, are harrowing. I mean, basically what this was, it was there was like high-level politicians who were caught up. This guy, his name's Lawrence E. King Jr., ran the Federal Credit Union in Omaha. Somehow, this kid ended up getting missing. Remember, the mom was trying to do whatever she could to reach out and the police to help find her missing son, who was missing while he was out delivering newspapers. The police didn't want to help, and nobody. She had private investigators that she hired that got run off, and it ended up, man, just kind of unfolding into this huge thing where they were abducting kids from, like, Houston, streetwalker kids, Because, you think about what people do for money, man, like, especially if you're down and out or something, an opportunity comes knocking in a suit, with a nice car or something.
Right.
But anyway, it unfolded to actually to parts of this Bohemian Grove, these rich guys that sort of, because when you have everything, what is it that you want,
Right.
And for a certain level of type of person, if you're going to get to a level of a Donald Trump, there's certain amounts of those guys are going to be sociopathic. You kind of have to be to get that way.
Right.
You got to be more about the money, Oh, pop goes the weasel. The weasel goes pop. But, it's just insane to think that a certain percentage of these guys, that whether or not you believe in the Bohemian Grove, which is like out in these Hollywood guys having these parties out out in the woods, sacrifices, doing all that crazy shit. They were kind of doing the same thing with the guys in the White House. That's what I'm leading to.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody that to me,
behind closed doors,
right,
shit.
man. And there's this harrowing interview with this kid who had an encounter with the first president. So you go, well, what was? You got to look at people have said over and over, and it's always true. Follow the money.
Yeah.
Where's the money? If the kid testifying or giving his testimony was it served for. Was that my stomach again? Damn, my stomach always be growling. If he was looked at to gain money from it, then you'd have to question his motives for making the testimony. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's that's a tough one. Basically, nobody will touch that
Right.
Franklin cover up and all that shit because it just involves police officers, everybody getting paid off. See, if you're coming at the boys and young men with lots of money who are streetwalkers, don't have it. Then you're coming into these communities, and this was in Nebraska, that don't have a lot going on.
Right.
You pay off a couple of the police officers to turn your eyes when they have their eye on boys they want to come in and take, and basically I think it's a way to muscle. It could be a way to muscle. Sort of people like that dude did in There Will Be Blood, the oil tycoon. He was coming into places where it was just small town people. So when he came in, he ran the show, So you can imagine some of these guys coming in and maybe paying off the police, getting involved with that Lawrence E. King with the money laundering. Because if the police are gonna be involved in the cover up, which involves kids, man, which is fucking serious. There has to be a lot of money flowing through it.
It's gotta be.
This whole and the laundering
black market shit.
was tied. Well, the money. I think the money laundering was tied to it's probably the money that they were receiving as kickbacks for keeping their mouth shut and just pretty much calling the mom crazy and all that shit, man. And it's just an insane story. But no, it seems to me like I don't know. It goes on, man. But you can't. It has to go on. I mean. Kids disappear all the time, man, and it's sad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that it's a lot of cover-ups, man. Besides Franklin, that's been going on forever since the beginning of time. Child trafficking has been from the beginning when they came in. When the Vikings came and stormed in and killed all the men and. Yeah. Burned the bridge. They kept the women and the children. They took the women and the children. Some of them kept them for their wives. Then they just gave them, So, I mean, even from China's big market of that, I mean, you got that going on all over the world. I mean, and the powers that be is the people, like you said, we are powerless to stop it because it's to a level to where the government is protected, and so I mean because a lot of people behind closed doors and high principalities and powers have sick intentions or have sick things about themselves. So you find yourself just basically, man, what can you do about it? It's the powers that be.
Right, I know it's
sad, but look, this is what controls the whole thing that we. Our foundation is sick. The foundation that was built. I mean, but look, corruptness we're all to a level, can be corrupted. Whether it's money can buy you off, whether it's drugs or sex. I mean, to an extent, everybody has a price now. You know what I'm saying? And if it was like to where I'm gonna get this to you and nobody's gonna know about it, it's never gonna come back. Come on. We all will probably hush to something, but it comes down to integrity and morals. Mm-hmm. So the same thing is like when a man will rape a child here in America, he's going to get prosecuted, he's going to get time. But what makes it right for somebody that's a high-profile politician and he's got so many people behind him that's going to keep it quiet to where it never comes back to him? I mean, we're dealing at a double standard nation, a double standard system. So it only works for certain people where it don't work for us. Right. And then look, when it comes to the intentions and morals, where is any? When you do something as sick as that,
Well, yeah,
It's
I
sad,
think you're just so used to having things your way that for certain people, certain types of people, the thrill to keep going, take it one step further, and I think when you, as far as those guys are concerned, having everything, the level beyond that, it can get pretty sick and twisted. You know what I mean? As far as what gets these guys, what gets their blood flowing. It can be unfortunate for some people. But let's get lighter here. We got I was looking through some of the notes. I want to talk to you about, man. Keep a thread of like. I've been talking a lot about movies lately. Been talking a lot about conspiracies too. So I thought, why not throw it up? I know you're a big fan of Bruce Lee, man. Is there a story behind? You always talk about, you say, you got something for everybody who's famous, who's died before their time, and let's see what we can talk about as far as Bruce Lee. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't seen a lot of Kung Fu. I haven't seen a lot of Bruce Lee. I'm gonna be honest there. I'll go ahead and come out and say, I haven't watched a lot of
I follow Bruce. This is what makes him a legend. In his country, it started like in the early, I want to say 50s. One of the first martial artists that got on the golden screen before it turned color. He was from out of China, and I can't remember his name, but Bruce Lee was one of like his pupils at the time, and he was like one of the first guys to do the Kung Fu. But it was like a comedy / episode where he was like a comedy like spy type guy,
right?
And I went that deep with it because when you talk about Kung Fu as a young child, my mother, took me to a couple of Kung Fu movies because that was the thing in the late 70s, middle 70s. And then my cousin, we used to, Chicago young, going out, we went out on the weekends, like, basically like what you and your son do. You go downtown, get a movie, a good meal. But man, what amazed me about martial arts was that you seen the movies that they made over in China, how it was made, and then they just basically some production company here in America bought the film and then they just play it over here,
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was, what really affected me was when you see this guy just stand in one spot and say, "Are you ready to fight?" And then he just jumped 2 stories backwards on top of a building. You be like, wait a minute. And then you go outside, you try to go do it, and it don't work, right?
No, because all that was they were playing the film backwards.
Right. No. When you find out the true thing, what they did.
He jumped from the building.
No, they had him tied to cables.
Oh, really?
So really, look. How do you do it so artful and so graceful? First of all, these guys are really martial artists.
Yeah, it's right.
And then a lot of them are acrobats.
Right, yeah.
So, when they do all that, they already trained, so that's what make their techniques. That's why, the fighting form of martial arts is deadly. Because, you can use 2 fingers. The guy said he can kill you with his 2 fingers. And he's dead serious.
Right.
They got this thing, you can hit a pressure point.
You make me scared like you know how to do it.
But no.
His fingers at me
That's
like
how,
that
was the mystique when we was growing up. That was the mystique about it.
Well, there was always that secret move.
Yeah.
They would learn it at the beginning. You'd forget about it. They'd fight all these fights. And at the very end with the boss, that's what they do.
At the end, it's always the end fight. And he had to end. Look, he was the nice guy and never did nothing to nobody, family. And then you killed his family. He had to come and get you.
That's what they were about, yeah.
And so the thing was, because they loved their family. Yeah. They could have been a butthole in the family, but their family, they genuinely love. So, that was the storyline in most martial arts movies, right?
Right, yeah.
But what made Bruce Lee was the first guy that got over here and was big. Like, he was like how
ooh, my stomach again, man.
Hey, man.
I'm about to eat those ribs.
Testing 1, 2. Hey, everybody out here, we got another friend in the building, and his name is from the Giggle Snort Hotel. Row, say hi. Row,
it
I had to give on the giggle snort.
The giggle snort hotel.
Nah, man, we just having a good time. But no, just the thing about Bruce, what made Bruce really, when he came over here to like box office smash, he broke the records over here.
Yeah.
So that's what made him the legend. So he was the first one that came from China and got over here.
He's Chinese. I was gonna ask.
Right. Yeah, he's Chinese, and so now the thing about Bruce was he was young. You know, he took it up as like 5 years old, and his master was a legend in China, which they made a movie about this guy, and so Yip Chung. Yeah, man, dude is bad.
Yeah.
And so Bruce, what makes you a master artist is that you learn the crane style, you learn the tiger style, so you learn all the techniques. So and then you combine it to one. So see what made Bruce so cold. Bruce took all his techniques that he learned and made a street style with it. So when you ever seen him, he dance on his toes.
Right.
Like he took Muhammad Ali, then he took his art form of his martial arts and added.
And then you dash in like a bit of
he had that swag,
movie theatrics.
And then he had to do the nose. He sold it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what made him the legend. So now.
So how old were you when he came around? Enter the Dragon. What was that? Was that the big one?
I was a teenager, man. I was.
You remember how that felt when that? Because a lot of people talk about that being one of those moments.
That was his biggest movie. And check it out. When you find out, this is where. Look, this is a good point you made, right? Because this is where Bruce left America. When he did that film, you know how much money they paid him?
I wouldn't even know. A couple
they said
thousand?
Basically it was like they paid him like maybe 10 grand.
Wow.
And like all the rest of them, like Jim Kelly, they got like 2. John Saxon, a couple grand. And then when it came over here and it sold like the first day 250,000, Bruce asked for like,
give me some residuals
and they told him,
or something.
And he like, look, I'm going back to my hometown. So he went back to his hometown.
And here's an industry inside tip that I've heard anyway. Never count on residuals.
Yeah, never. So
never ask people to give you money after you've done something that's made money and you haven't struck that deal already.
Yeah. So what he did was he went back to China, started his own production.
And he was using people out of China to be it. And did that cause a stir?
Yeah. Because what happened was. He was gonna take his thing back and go back to America with it,
and these guys aren't getting this money.
Right, he found a lot of love. The people loved him over here. This is where it really got salty at.
I heard it turned kids on the street into ninjas. Like kids were just walking around now with nunchucks and shit.
He was the first Chinese that came over here and taught us martial arts.
And karate and that shit
the Chinese people did not want him to teach his culture over here in America. He went against some main people back in China, like mafia, big time people. They told him, look, don't take our teachings over there. He opened up school in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
So when all that came together, Enter the Dragon, all that was going on in his life. So when he found out that he got cut short on their money, he went back to China, started his own production company, and was finna come back over here. So one of the main guys again say, hey, here we go again. Bruce started having these headaches. Because Bruce worked out tremendously, like every day, all day. He used that electronic sensor muscle thing to make your muscles tick.
That? You talking about that?
You put the patches on you and it makes your muscles jump.
I thought you were talking about that thing you get in that is like a big band and it goes around you and just vibrates you. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's something like that. But what it is, he's got them things with the sensors for the muscles. It just keeps your muscles pecking.
It spazzes.
Yeah. Bruce was hooked up to shit like that.
Spasms them.
And Bruce broke his back. He broke his back in a big tournament, and then they thought he was gonna never fight again. He came up out of that, and that's why he became so great. So you talking about from a man that faced adversity. Right. He faced taking his teachings and went against his people. So look, when it came down to it, they said he went to the place to get this medicine. All right. And this medicine was for headaches. He took it. They said he went to a deep sleep. But when they found Bruce, they said it was bruising and contusions on him. Now, the lady, Betty, who was there with him, she was a famous star and played in some, maybe one of his movies. When he passed away, she was married to one of the big mafia dudes. Then they put her in a convent for 20 years. She's just came out of the convent. So when you find out, now look, then as you watching this, as I'm looking all this up, once part of you, when you partake in the sacrifice, you have to complete silence. So they send you to places like that.
Wow.
So you never speak on it again.
Damn.
So Bruce, it could be, and he was set up. A lot of people don't want to really get into that, but then, I said,
what was the official report on his
the official thing was, what do you call it when you take medicine and it makes your blood vessels bust in your head?
Aneurysm.
But here's the thing, when they found Bruce, look, they said Bruce died that night. They didn't come and get him till that morning. So somebody else was there to cover everything up, to get her out the way, get this. So then when they took him to the hospital, they didn't pronounce him dead till that evening. Then the autopsy took 2 months, and then it came back.
Aneurysm.
But
I'm about to ask.
But they kept the body for a long time. They kept the body for like over 2 or 3 weeks before they even made a big, before they put his body out for America, for the world to see.
Right.
I mean, Bruce Lee had over. You know how many people came to his funeral?
Hold on a second. It's funny because I was about to ask Google, and it just keeps recording what Reece has been saying. It says, "Here's what Google just searched." Hold on, let me say this. It's funny. Body for long, they kept the body fly over 23. Before they made it big. If he put his body out for the format. Okay, let me ask Google real quick. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Bruce Lee, official cause of death. Dude, that was super funny.
It took every day.
Everything you were saying, it was trying to look that up.
Life energy, boy, is absorbed. Yeah. Aneurysm.
Yeah.
He was so healthy. He was so in such condition. You would think he can see. He's a Chinese master. He can go inside himself and heal his own self.
Right.
You see, a lot of people don't know that. Martial arts is also about healing.
Yeah, a lot of pains and stuff. They say a lot of back pains and stuff. If you notice, you get depressed or stuff, and you get into different moods. You get back pains, and it's a lot of. It's
the mind.
It's a way when
Powerful.
the mind. It's a way that the mind sort of. What's the word? Brings out the stress of what you're going through as a pain indication.
Yeah. Stress is number one killer of all of us because see, the form of stress can come in from pain. It can come from stroke. It can come, like holding stuff in, being upset all the time. You're not releasing it. And that takes form in your body. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So if you're somebody like him who has a strong mind and sits, meditates, sound body,
always worked out. So he was stress free. He was
Say for him and with the Chinese, though. You know what I mean?
When you touch the wrong people,
maybe that just caused his fucking head. He's like, I can't do anything right, man.
It's stress.
Maybe a lot of it's too much for people, man. Think about it. He was just a dude.
He was a young man too,
and that figured out how to do.
Like he was 29, 30 when he died. And then the thing was, man, imagine if Bruce was still around, he would be a legend. You know how much? I mean, he would never have to work again. I mean, he would just be a legend. A lot of people don't want to see that. happen.
Here it is. Okay, so the autopsy found aquagesic in his system. This is from Wikipedia, so this is just, this should be common knowledge. So I assume Wikipedia is a good place for common knowledge, I wouldn't, it said it found that in his system, and he died from an allergic reaction to the tranquilizer meprobamate.
And look, with that, she gave him that first because he told her his head was hurting. She gave him the pill, and then he took the other pill.
Listen to this. This is this is the first time I ever heard this. When the doctors announced Lee's death officially, it was ruled a death by misadventure.
Wow. Now, come on now.
And then look what's right after that. Controversy surrounding Lee's death. So rumors appeared. He had an iconic status.
It's deep, man. It's more
supposedly
than, you know.
the murder that involved the triads of the Chinese.
See what I'm saying? Then look, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And the main dudes called that. They said he was the one that called it, but you'll never. And look, his name was Low Way.
Right.
He was a producer, a big time producer.
A doctor said nobody dies from one tablet of Equagesic. No analgesic killed Bruce. People weren't about to step up and say Bruce Lee had died from eating cannabis, which was found in his stomach, and which he had consumed regularly for some time due to the stress of his fame. Right. Didn't I tell you? One guy dealing with the fame.
Brownies. He used to do the brownies.
Or some related product, which is the brownie.
Yeah, the brownies, though.
Yeah. Dr. Wu and a couple other doctors were pulled aside to find out if it was cannabis, basically asking them preliminary opinion. Who treated Lee during his first seizure in May, said that the cause of death should have been attributed to either a reaction to cannabis or that Equagesic. He stated that we removed quite a lot of hashish from his stomach. Oh, crazy. So there you go.
Man, that's in marijuana that you can never. It's been found, doctors, scientists, you can never overdose on marijuana.
Well, but at the same you can't smoke yourself to death. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if somebody shoved 12 pounds of marijuana down your throat, you'd probably die.
Yeah, of course, at one point in time. I mean,
just from consumption. You can die from water, man, if you drink too much water. Have you heard about this?
It was a girl that did it
in a contest, right? That's fucked up.
It really did, man. No bullshit. It's fucked up.
Crazy shit here on Another Hour. So we've given you guys plenty, I think, to go further with on your own. And we hope you've enjoyed the show. Reece, you want to go ahead and call it a day, man?
Well,
it's getting late here. We've lost another hour.
We put it in. I mean, The thing was, it was a great show. And everybody out there, we just hope you enjoy.
I like the Bruce Lee stuff, man.
Yeah, I loved it all. I mean, we got some good topics, and what I would just really would just be more than happy for us to endure. Like I said, in time, we want to interact with the people out there that's listening to us, So we want to maybe set up a line, down the road to where people can call in and we can
that'd be fun, man.
That'll make it really juicy. So we're gonna do some good things with this show, and I'm just happy to be a part of it with Rod. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great night.
Y'all see you there. Take care, guys.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Another Hour with Rod. I've been your host, Rod, and I want to remind you all again to please rate the podcast on iTunes. Type in Another Hour with Rod in the search field there and click on the podcast link and rate it there on iTunes. And also you can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Another Hour with Rod. You can like us on Facebook, Another Hour Podcast. And you can do whatever you like. Peace. I'm out.
I have to say this. He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it. All right.